Hi friends, welcome back to another stitch tutorial, and today we're going to learn how to crochet the diamond granny stitch. So this stitch gives a very beautiful fabric. It uses more than one color. You can choose to use two colors or choose to use three or more colors. So for these three samples I've used three colors, as you can see. So it's a 4-row repeat pattern, and it can be learned even by a beginner. So let's just head over to the tutorial. For this tutorial, you're going to need yarn. I'll be using the mill cotton yarn. This is a 4-ply yarn and 4.0 millimeter crochet hook. I'll also use a pair of scissors. So you can pick those as well as a darning needle if you're going to weave in all your ends, and then we can start the tutorial. To begin, you're going to pick our first yarn color, then make a slip knot. And for our foundation chains, you're going to chain a multiple of 3 plus 1. So I'll chain 22, then meet you in row 1. 3, 1. Once you have your desired number of chains, mine is 22, which is a multiple of 3 times 7, 21, then add 1, 28, 2. You're going to yarn over, keep the very first 3 chains. These 3 chains will count as our first double crochet, and in the 4th chain you want to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. So that is our second double crochet, and you're going to add 1 more double crochet. Then instead of chaining 1, you're going to yarn over, skip the next 2 chains, and in the next for the 3rd chain you want to place 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Skip the next 2 chains, and in the next chain or the 3rd chain place 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. So that will be the pattern repeat for row 1 all the way to the end. Skip the next 2, 3 double crochet in the next, skip the next 2, 3 double crochet in the next, all the way until you have your last 3 chains remaining. Then I'll meet you when you're finishing our row and starting row 2. So once you reach the end and you have only 3 chains remaining, you're going to yarn over, and the very last chain you want to work only 1 double crochet. So that is the end of row 1, and for row 2 we're going to start by working chain 3, which will count as our first double crochet stitch, then turn, and in the very first space you're going to place 2 more double crochet, row 1 and 2, but you're not going to finish this second one because you're going to start changing color. So you can see after the first row, the next row we had the first cluster of your previous color, and then the next one, the next cluster is going to be the second color. So pick your new color and then pull it through the last 2 loops of that previous color. Pull through those 2 last loops. Then working on both the 2 loops, you're going to yarn over, and in the next space place 3 double crochet, but do not finish the 3rd stitch. 1, 2, well, before you finish the last double crochet, you want to drop now the new color and pick the previous color, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, then yarn over, go in the next space, working over the yarn teams, you want to work 3 double crochets but change color in the 3rd stitch. So 2, And in this third one, you're going to change our color. So when you have 2 loops remaining on your hook, you're going to drop that yarn and pick the next one and over pull through the last 2 loops. So that is the pattern. Repeat all the way until you reach the very last space here. So I've reached the very last space here, and I'm going to work 3 double crochet. You're not going to change color in this last part. So work your last double crochet, and then you can yarn over and finish our row by locating the third chain and finishing it with a double crochet using your new color. So row 2 is done, and at this point you can now cut your previous color. Then chain 3 and turn your work. So every row will start by a chain 3 and 2 double crochet in that next space. So yarn over and work 2 double crochet in that space. Then you're going to place 3 double crochet in each space all the way to the end. And so before you work, you want to work over the floats that we carried in previous row. So you can pull this loop here and work over it. Go in the next space, work over that loop. Placing 3 double crochets in each space. And repeat that, working over the floats all the way to the very end. And then I'll meet you when you have the last cluster here remaining. So once you reach the last space here, after working your last 3 double crochets, you're going to work a double crochet in the very last stitch here, the chain 3, but you're going to change color in that last stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then change color. So pick your next color, then yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops, and then you're going to chain 3. The chain 3 will count as the first double crochet in this row, and turn your work, working over the previous yarn because you're still going to work it in the spaces. So yarn over, working over that previous yarn and inserting your hook in that next space. You're going to work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. But before you finish the second one, change it to the previous yarn. So the previous row, yarn over, pull through, and then using now this next color, you're going to work 3 double crochet in the next space. So 1, 2, and 3. Then you're going to change it to the next color by yarning over and pulling through the last 2 loops. Then using the green, now you're going to work 3 double crochet in the next space, but change color in the 3rd double crochet stitch. 2, then 3, drop that color and pick the next one, and over, pull through the last 2 loops. So you can see the diamond is now starting to take shape. So you're going to repeat that, changing color on every 3rd stitch all the way to the end. And then I'll meet you when you're working on your last space here. When you have 1 space remaining, you're going to go in that space, work your 3 double crochets, but change color in the very last stitch. Then finish your row with a double crochet in the very last stitch. And because the next row will be this new color all through, you're finishing our row with that color, then chaining 3 and turning our work. So for the next row, we'll start by working 2 double crochet in this first space. Then we'll proceed by placing 3 double crochets in each of these spaces, working over the yarn that we carried. We'll go under that yarn or the loop that we carried and place 3 double crochet. Then continue working 3 double crochet in each space all through to the end. Then I'll meet you in the very last space. When you have the last chain space remaining, you're going to work 3 double crochet in that space. 1, 2, 3. Then finish your row with a double crochet in the very last stitch using this color that you're still working on. Then for the next row, we're going to repeat row 2 pattern. So remember, we started by chaining 3, then turn and start with 2 double crochet in this first space. 1 and 2, but change color before you finish the second stitch. So at this point, you can now cut your previous yarn and you're going to pick the next color and pull it through the last 2 loops. Then yarn over, working over your previous yarn, you're going to work 3 double crochet in this next space, but change color in the 3rd stitch. 2 and 3. Then yarn over your previous yarn or your previous color and pull it through the last 2 loops. Then carrying your tail, you're going to double crochet 3 times in this next space. 1, 2, and 3. Change color in the 3rd stitch and continue with the pattern. Now you can see also this one, we're starting to see the diamonds. So there's a half diamond and then a full diamond here. So continue with that, and then I'll meet you when you reach the very last space here. When you reach the very last space, you're going to work 3 double crochets using your new color. And at this last point, we're not going to change yarns. So finish your 3 double crochets and then double crochet in the very last stitch with the same yarn. So find the 3rd chain and then work a double crochet. Then next row, we're going to repeat our row 3 pattern. by chaining 3, 2 double crochet in the very first space, and then 3 double crochet in each space, working over these yarn floats that we carried. You can see them here, working over them all the way to the end. When you reach the very last space, you're going to work 3 double crochet, then a double crochet in the very last stitch. So I'll meet you when you're working your double crochet in the very last stitch here. When you reach the very end of your row, you're going to yarn over and work a double crochet in the very last stitch using the same yarn. But remember, we're going to change color at the very end of this double crochet stitch. So pick the next yarn and pull it through those last 2 loops. Then you're going to chain 3, turn your work, repeat row 4 pattern, working over this previous yarn. So go in the very first stitch and work 2 double crochet stitches. Then change it to the previous yarn, pull through the last 2 loops, carrying over your yarn. You're going to work 3 double crochet in the very next space, change color to the next one, then 3 double crochet in the next space, change color in the very last double crochet stitch, and repeat that all the way to the very last space. So I'll meet you at the end of this row, working in the very last stitch here. So I've worked to my last space, and after working the 3 chains, the 3 double crochets, I'll change color in the very last double crochet stitch. Then I finish my row with a double crochet in the very last stitch here. Next, we're going to repeat row 5 pattern. So you're going to chain 3, turn, and you're going to place 2 double crochets in the very first space. Then 3 double crochets in each of the next spaces, working over these yarn tails or yarn floats. So when you reach the very end here, I'll show you how my work looks like, then show you the repeats all the way to the end of your project. So when you reach the very end, after working the very last space of your row repeat, you're going to work a double crochet in the very last stitch using the same yarn that you've been working on all through that row. Then chain 3, turn, 2 double crochet in the very first space. So you're basically now repeating row 2 pattern. So at the end of this second double crochet stitch, you're going to change to the next color, and so you're going to repeat row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way until you achieve your desired size of your project. So I'll go and finish some few more rows. Then if you want to know how to work the border, you can stick around until when I'm done, then I'll show you how to do the border. So I have 2 different types of borders. There's this single crochet border all the way around, and the granny cluster border or the granny stitch border all the way around. So I'll show you how to do this one and just illustrate to you how you can do this one as well. So if you want to see how I did that, please stick around. So I went ahead and finished my few rows and then weaved in all the ends. So as you can see, both sides are neat and seamless. Now to work the border, the granny stitch border, if you want to work the single crochet border, you're going to attach your yarn in the first stitch and work single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end. And in the very last stitch, you're going to work a single crochet, chain 1 and single crochet. Then you turn and work 2 single crochet around each double crochet stitch all the way to the end. Place single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the very last space. Turn, work single crochet, 2 single crochet in the chain 2 spaces, and 1 single crochet in the main stitches where we had the granny clusters. Now for the granny cluster or the granny stitch border, you're going to start by making a slip knot, then insert your hook, and you're going to start it with a standing double crochet. So yarn over and go in this corner stitch. Around that last stitch, you're going to work 3 double crochets, then skip the next double crochet row, and in the next double crochet row, place 3 double crochets, skip the next double crochet row, and in the next one 3 double crochets. So you're going to repeat this, skipping the next row and placing 3 double crochet around the next stitch all the way until the very end of this side, and then we'll meet when you're turning and working on the bottom row. When you reach the bottom row, you're going to work 3 double crochets, then you chain 1, turn to the bottom side and start with 3 double crochets in the very same space. So 3 double crochets here at the end, then 3 double crochets in each of these chain 2 spaces, repeat that all the way to the very last space here, then we'll turn to the next side. After working 3 double crochets in this very last space, you're going to chain 1. You can chain 2 if you want a bigger corner. Then on this, in the same space, place 3 more double crochets, skip the next row, and in the next row place 3 double crochets, and you want to repeat this also all the way to the end of the row by skipping the next row, 3 double crochet around the next row, skip the next row, 3 double crochet around the next row all the way to the very end. So your last 3 double crochets is going to be around this very last stitch here. After working 3 double crochets in this very last stitch, you're going to chain 1 and turn to the top row. Start by working 3 double crochets in the very same space, then 3 double crochets in each of the next spaces between the granny clusters all the way until you reach the very end. So I started with 3 double crochets. You're going to place the next 3 double crochet set and then chain 1 and join with a slip stitch to the very first stitch. So I'll meet you at the end and show you how my work looks like. So when you reach the very end, after working your last set of 3 double crochet, just chain 1 and slip stitch in this very first stitch, chain 1 and cut your yarn. Then using your darning needle, you're going to weave in the loose ends that you have. So that is the end of our tutorial. I'll just go ahead and block my work, and then I can use this piece as a coaster or join it with others to make a blanket. You can see the one that is already blocked, how it looks like. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, please stay safe. God bless you, and bye.